Mat activities are given to SCI patients to facilitate balance, right? It improves balance of the patient. Second thing is it promotes stability. It mobilizes and strengthens the trunk and the limbs, and it trains for functional activities, right? So there are so many activities we can teach in the mat. One is like rolling, right? So rolling is to be effective. The patient is required to learn to move the head, neck, upper limb, lower limb, and the trunk in a balanced manner. So rolling is needed to improve bed mobility and to change the position independently, right? So initially, rolling is taught to patient in mat, but afterwards, patient gets confidence to perform it over the bed, right? So in this, patient lies in a supine position. Patient flexes his head, neck, right shoulder, right? Then the right arm is moved towards the left side to create momentum, right? The momentum of arm is transferred to the trunk and the lower limb. The lower half of the body will roll to prone position, right? And the flexion of hip and knees will facilitate the roll. And the patient takes his right shoulder at the back side by putting weight on the left forearm, and thus weight is distributed on both upper limbs. And the patient lies prone. So these are the steps in this. The patient is going prone lying position from supine position, right? First, patient tilts his head and neck, right? And he moves his arm, right? And this gives momentum to the arm, trunk, and lower limbs. And the patient tries to flex his hips and knees. So patient goes in prone lying position, right? So this is the technique. These are the steps, right? So rolling to prone can also be assisted by the use of pillows under one side of the pelvis or scapula if needed, right? So we teach the patient all these steps. This is rolling, right? Now prone on elbows. This position of mat activity is given to cervical lesion patient, facilitates head and neck control, strengthens the serratus anterior and other scapular muscles. Now the patient is on the elbow in prone lying position. So this position is very important to train the patient to gain stability is quadruped and sitting position, right? So prone on elbow position should be used carefully in lumbar injuries as this increase lumbar lordosis, right? So patient lies prone and places his elbows close to the trunk. So in this position, patient takes weight on the forearm. So elbows are pushed down while lifting head and upper trunk. Now the patient brings the elbow to the level of shoulder and the body weight is shifted to the elbows, right? Now the position is prone lying position. The patient comes on hands in prone lying position. This position is given to the paraplegic patient because it requires a strong pectoralis major and deltoid muscles. This position cannot be used in quadriplegic patient. So, however, this activity is not appropriate to all the paraplegics as excessive lordosis is produced. So prone on hand position is required to gain postural alignment during standing, ambulation, and standing from floor with the use of arthrosis and crutches. Right? So all these are the mat activities. One is supine on elbow. Patient lies on supine position. He takes his weight on the elbows. Right? This is supine on elbow. It also gives stability. It improves balancing. Right? It strengthens the muscles. Right? So this technique requires a strong abdominal muscles. Next one is pull-ups. This activity is given in quadriplegics to strengthen their biceps and shoulder flexors, which may be required for wheelchair propulsion. Right? So in this, patient lies supine, therapist stands over the patient in high kneeling position. The lower limb of the therapist is near the hips of the patient. The therapist holds the forearm of therapist and pulls himself to the sitting position. Then lowers down. Right? This one. So this one is pull-ups. Next one is sitting. Sitting position are important for various activities in daily life such as aerial, transfer activities, dressing, wheelchair mobility, etc. So sitting is achieved easily by paraplegics, but it is difficult job for the quadriplegic patients. Right? So stability in sitting position for quadriplegics is achieved by weight bearing through hands with flexed fingers, extended wrist, extended elbow, hyperextended and axially rotated shoulders. Right? So we can maintain a posture of sitting in case of quadriplegic patients. Right? Then lifting. Lifting is done to relieve continuous pressure over the body parts. Lifting from sitting position requires a great balance in sitting position. Right? So patient sits in a long sitting position. Hands are placed on mat with elbows extended. Patient pushes down on hands and depresses shoulder and lifts the buttocks off the ground. So this is lifting technique. So all these activities comes in mat activities, right? Means rolling, tone on elbows, tone on hands, supine on elbow, pulls up, sitting, right? Lifting, all these comes in mat activities, right? Now we discuss transfer activities. In daily life, body weight is transferred number of times from one place to another place for various activities, right? So this activity of an individual is hampered following any injury or disability. So to live an independent life, person needs to be able to transfer himself. Transfer activity is very important for the patient or everyone. So a disabled person with the help of physiotherapist achieves independence and transfers. So transfer techniques in SCI patient is initiated by the therapist when the patient achieves adequate sitting balance. So sitting balance is required for the transfer activities. So first we have to develop sitting balance, right? Means you should have good strength in the abdominal muscles as well as trunk extensors. The transfer techniques are taught to the patient in a progressive manner from easier to difficult one. So there are so many techniques. So first we teach easy technique to the patient, right? Then we make it complex. So first is assisted transfer, then independent transfer. So during transfer techniques, some points should be kept in mind for the ease of patient, such as correct positioning of the chair. Legs of the chair should be tightly applied. Surfaces should be at correct height. ideally same as that of wheelchair. Care must be taken to prevent dragging of legs. Both surfaces should be close together and balance must be retained throughout transfer. Right? It means the level of the couch or the seat of the wheelchair should be at the same level. Right? So correct positioning of the chair is important. Now we apply brakes on the chair, wheelchair, and it should be tight, right? So surfaces should be at correct height and ideally same as that of wheelchair. Clear? So care must be taken to prevent dragging of legs, right? Always take care of legs because there may be a sensory loss, right? If you drag the legs, the skin may be damaged. Next thing is assisted transfers. In assisted transfers, the therapist helps the patient during transfer activities. Right? So these are of great importance in quadriplegic patient. It can be done by the help of two therapists or by a single therapist only. Right? Next is for the quadriplegic patients, chair to plinth transfer, chair to bed transfer, chair to car transfer, chair to toilet seat, chair to easy chair, chair to bath tub, right? So these are transfer activities for the quadriplegic patients. And for the paraplegics, chair to plinth or bed, chair to car, chair to toilet, chair to easy chair. And the paraplegics can do himself also, right? Next one is wheelchair activities. We can teach to the patient. Wheelchair is used as a means of mobility in the patient of a spinal cord injury. Or we can say the wheelchair is a second house for the paraplegics or quadriplegic patients, not for the quadriplegics. Then generally, uh, paraplegics use, right? Even a patient of paraplegia who can walk with the help of orthosis likes to choose the wheelchair as mobility equipment because it requires less energy and is more safe. So a wheelchair is prescribed to the patient according to the extent of disability. The wheelchair should be properly fitted to patient for whom it is described. So we can modify wheelchair according to the condition and requirement of the patient, right? So for the wheelchair to be properly fitted to the patient, right? So in this seat, backrest, armrest, leg rest, right, footrest, all these should be at the correct level, right, at the correct position. Like footrest, the correct height of the footrest must keep the thighs supported. The height should neither be increased as it causes excessive pressure over tuberosity, nor be decreased as it causes forward slipping of patient. Right? So patient having lower limb spasticity may require heel loop or toe loop on the footrest to keep feet in place. Right? Next is wheelchair training. The wheelchair training is started after making some specific adjustments. So the wheelchair training given to patient by the therapist is divided into sections. Depending on the disability of the patient, it is not necessary that all the activities can be taught to the patient. Right? So all these techniques we teach to the patient. So teaching basically movement within the wheelchair, initial wheelchair training, advanced wheelchair training. Right? So manipulation of bricks of wheelchair we can teach to the patient. Remove the armrest of wheelchair we can teach to the patient. Removal of footrest we can teach to the patient. We can perform tilting and lifting in the wheelchair. Right? So tilting and lifting techniques are taught to prevent dangers of pressure sores. Right? So we teach all these techniques to the patient. We ask the patient to lean forward. We ask the patient to lean sideways, both the sides, to relieve pressure under the ischial tuberosity to prevent pressure sores. Right? So lifting can be performed either independently by the patient. Patient can use his upper limbs, right? He can lift his body up for 2 seconds, at least for 10 to 15 seconds, right? To relieve pressure, right? And if he is quadriplegic, then we can use the lifter's power or therapist power, right? So in paraplegia, the simplest independent lift is achieved by pushing down on armrest, straining the elbows, depressing shoulders, right? So for lifting, we require good strengthened shoulder, biceps and triceps, gripping, right? So we have to strengthen all these muscles, right? And the patient without triceps need to hyperextended the elbows while lifting. Clear? So pressure can also be relieved by leaning forward with the chest on the knees or lean sideways over the armrest. Patients are instructed to lift for at least 10 to 15 seconds, right? So all these wheelchair activities, lifting, all these important to the patient, right? Next is ambulation. The first question that arises in the patient's mind while he is on the bed is, will he ever walk again? Right? Because after the spinal cord injury, patient becomes bedridden. Right? So inability to walk is the major disability in case of SCI patients. So the patient experiences immense social pressure to attain his upright posture and to walk again. Right? So the patient having complete lesion above T10 are generally unsuitable for locomotion and they are considered for wheelchair mobility. Right? Whereas the patient having lower level lesion or patient with incomplete lesion who has some strength in one or both hip flexors and or quadriceps are more likely to achieve a successful ambulation with the help of some kind of arthrosis, right? So all these depends on the level of lesion and the extent of injury. Clear? So walking leads to large number of physiological benefits in the patient. Some of these are like walking provides psychological influence on the patient, right? So ambulation is required. It reduces spasticity. So when the patient starts walking with the help of arthrosis, the spasticity reduces, right? It also improves digestion. It prevents pressure sores, prevents heterotropic ossification, prevents chances of osteoporosis, improves blood circulation, improves postural sensibility, and vasomotor control. Right? So ambulation is very important to all. Right? So ambulatory training should be initiated in the patient as soon as the patient has mastered in transverse bed activities, mat activities, and wheelchair activities. Then we allow the patient to walk with the help of orthosis, right? So the main aim of ambulatory training is to teach functional ambulation to the patient. But there are many physical factors which determine whether a patient can achieve functional ambulation or not. So the first and the foremost being the level of lesion. So other physical factors include spasticity, right? Spinal and limb deformities, coordination, stability, balancing, renal abnormalities, pressure sores, right? So all these factors affects ambulation. Next thing is the patient's age, weight of the patient, intelligence, and motivation also determines his ability to walk, right? So all these factors affects ambulation. So patient possesses adequate muscle strength, postural alignment, proper range of motion, sufficient cardiovascular endurance, then patient can ambulate, right? So the patient with high level lesion cannot achieve ambulation because of their inability to stabilize the trunk and the pelvis. All these depends on site of lesion, right? Next is the stability of the different segments of the body independently and as well as of entire structure is essential for walking. The stability could be either intrinsic or extrinsic. The intrinsic stability is achieved through the skeletal structures and the extrinsic stability through the neuromuscular control by keeping base of support in a contact with the ground. Right? So stability is required, mobility is required, body control is required for ambulation. Right? We can also use orthosis. Orthosis, what is orthosis? Anyone? What is orthosis? Orthosis we can use in case of spinal cord injury patients for ambulation. So what is orthosis? Satyam? What is orthosis?
सर
Saurabh,
ऑर्थोसिस
Satyam?
सर
Yes.
सर
सर
ऑर्थोसिस सर
एक्सटर्नली
One
सपोर्ट
by
करने
one.
के लिए
Yes.
सर कोई भी डिवाइस जो हम
Satyam.
यूज करते हैं सर उसे ऑर्थोसिस कहते हैं सर
Yes. Orthosis. Saurabh.
ये सर यही और सर प्रोसेसेस जो हम उसकी जगह आर्टिफिशियली यूज करते हैं वो प्रोसेसेस हो जाता है और सपोर्ट करने के लिए अगर हम कोई एड यूज कर रहे हैं तो वो ऑर्थोसिस हो जाती है
That is orthosis.
ये सर
For
लाइक
support.
कॉलर
अच्छा राइट अगर आप कॉलर यूज कर रहे हैं या फिर लंबर ब्रेस यूज कर रहे हैं राइट कॉर्सेट यूज कर रहे हैं ऑल दीज आर एग्जांपल्स ऑफ आर्थोसिस राइट
ऑर्थोसिस
राइट सो आर्थोसिस आर aids to support the body part in a anatomical structure right so those are arthrosis and the science is known as arthrotics right in which we study all the principles and details of the arthrosis right? So the science is known as arthrotics. Clear? Next is we can also teach the patient the parallel bar activities, right? Means this can be used for gait training, right? So proper coordination exercises in parallel bar we can teach to the patient. Patient is standing between the parallel bars. He distributes his weight on both the lower limbs and then raises both the upper limb forward, then sideways. So again forward, then to the starting position. Right? For this, we can use parallel bar for gait training. Hip hiking, the patient shifts his body weight to one side and by pushing over parallel bar of same side. Raises the hip of other side, return to the starting position, right? Next one is leg swinging. The patient raises his one leg in the same manner described above and swings the raised leg forward and backward for several counts, right? So we teach all these techniques to the patient. Means we can use hip hiking technique, we can also leg swinging technique, right? To improve gait or to improve balancing and emulation, right? There are so many things, so many gait patterns like drag to gait and swing to gait, right? So many techniques we can use, 4-point gait, 2-point gait pattern we can use, right? We can teach the patient how to climb on the stairs, right? How to descend from the stairs. Means complete gait training we can give to the patient. Now, we can also give hydrotherapy. Hydrotherapy can be started as soon as the patient is stabilized, the suture time is closed, and there is no infection, right? So hydrotherapy is very essential to the SCI patients if he is having a good balancing. So to encourage to gain confidence in walking, encourage movement of his spine, decrease pain, and gain relaxation of back extensor muscles, we can use hydrotherapy, right? There are so many secondary complications you can see in the patients of SCI, like contractures, spinal deformities, edema, pathological fractures, paraarticular ossification, dissocies, and spasticity, right? So we have to deal with all these complications in case of SCI patients, right? So this is the management of SCI patients. So if you want to ask anything in SCI, you can ask. The important thing is the level of lesion and the extension of injury, right? All these depends on this factor. Now we have discussed all the things, all the points related to the management of spinal cord injury, right? So you have to make an assessment format for traumatic spinal cord injury patients, right? Now we will discuss the assessment chart for SCI patients, right? So today you have to make assessment format for SCI patients, right? There may be two charts. One is for paraplegics and the other for quadriplegic patients, right? अभी कुछ पूछना चाहते हैं आप लोग पूछ सकते हैं. So we have done spinal cord injury in detail, right? If you have any doubt, you can ask. We'll read all the slides, and tomorrow we will discuss again, right? कुछ पूछना चाहते हैं आप लोग?